Hey everyone, welcome to It's Just Food. I'm Paul G, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to cook a spaghetti squash. So I've had a lot of friends reach out lately and ask me, how do you cook this? What is this? What do you do with it? And actually, my fiance and I eat spaghetti squash probably once a week. We will cook this and then I'll make a turkey bolognese and we'll do something similar to pasta. But the nice thing about this is you can eat half of this. Honestly, you could probably eat this whole thing and you won't feel bloated and heavy and kind of like you feel when you eat a lot of pasta, just sits in your stomach. So it's a great alternative to pasta if you're trying to be healthy or just watch the amount of carbs you're eating. So what we're gonna do is we're going to cut this, clean it out, roast it, and then peel all the good squash away from the skin. So let's start with cutting it. We're gonna take just a sliver of the ends off, okay? And then we're gonna stand it up. What I like to do is go halfway and then down, and then you're gonna turn it and just follow that first cut. Okay, so that's what you end up with.
Grab your large spoon. You can use a small one if you like, but a larger spoon will make this easier. And you're going to run the spoon along the inside of the squash, scraping out all the seeds and what I would call the guts of the squash. The inside of a spaghetti squash is very similar to a pumpkin, and continue scraping it out until you're left with this beautiful, clean squash.
All right, so we have our beautifully cleaned squash. We're gonna place these on a pan, and what you wanna do is generously season them with some olive oil, and then some salt and pepper. And you can really be generous with the seasoning because it's only gonna get the top layer. Once you pull everything out, we'll re-season it again. But this just really helps kind of get that outside. And don't worry about the bottom. These are sitting on their skin, so that part's gonna get roasted. It's all the meat on the inside that we wanna pull out. And you wanna put this in the oven at about 400 to 425 for about 40 minutes. Now, depending on the size of your squash, it could take a little less, maybe 30, 35 minutes, or a little bit longer, 45, 50, 55 minutes. But basically until it's fork tender. So you'll be able to stick a fork in there very easily, and then you'll just scrape everything out. And I'll show you once it's completely cooked. So we're gonna get these in the oven. So I just pulled these out of the oven, and basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a fork and just pierce all the meat in there. And if your fork easily goes through, that means they're done. And don't forget, if you undercook them a little bit, you can also finish them in the end, depending on the dish you're making. You do not want to overcook squash. It gets so gross. It basically just turns into mushy baby food. So you want to try and keep it al dente, so undercook it a little bit. That way when you're finishing your dish, you still have like a nice chew like a pasta, okay? These are ripping hot, so we're gonna let these sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna pull all the meat out and show you guys how to do that. Hey everyone, so it's been about 10 minutes and our squash has had a chance to cool. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to remove all the meat from the squash.
Next, grab your fork, and you can use any type of fork you have in the kitchen. You don't need a specialty fork or tool for this. And you're just going to run the fork along the inside of the squash and continue scraping along the skin until you pull all of the cooked squash out of the shell, and you'll basically be left with an empty skin.
And there you have it, everybody. That's how you cook and clean a spaghetti squash. And you can see once you scrape out all the meat, you're left with this beautiful pile. It's really up to you how you want to cook it and eat it. I love spaghetti squash in place of pasta, so we always do a turkey bolognese. I think it's got a nice chew to it. It's a very neutral flavored squash. And I'll be sure to do a spaghetti squash meal in the future just to show you guys kind of what I'm talking about, how we eat at home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for checking it out. I'll see you on the next one.